Welcome to WION World of Cricket. I'm Isha Hanspal. Australia have won by 5 runs with me against New Zealand, and with me in the studios is Dav Watmore, a cricket expert with us for the last month or so, and he will continue on with us to the end of the World Cup. Dav, the Trans-Tasman rivalry, not for the faint-hearted, I have to say.
No.
Will they, won't they? After the game last night, I was not expecting another one like this.
They've had some good tussles over the recent years, and this one's a beauty as well. So I think we should be thanking both teams for a wonderful game.
Yeah.
It was a spectacle. It had a lot of good things in it. It had a lot of ordinary things as well, which we can dissect later. But at the end of the day, you know, when you get a score of 388, you more than likely think it's going to be over early, but it's not. It was a wonderful effort in the chase, and only 5 runs separated the two. Yeah.
Honestly, Rachin Ravindra and Daryl Mitchell, rather unfortunate, got caught on the boundary. And if you just take a look at the scorecard right now, Rachin Ravindra 116.
Yep.
Very, very gutsy effort. I thought he played so calmly, and he actually managed to bridge the gap, which one thought that New Zealand had to set themselves a very high total for them to chase.
Somebody so young as well.
Yes.
You know, a 23-year-old playing in his first World Cup. Now it's his second century, and he joins a very illustrious band of Kiwi batters over the years that have done that. So well done to him. 6
games so far. He has 2 centuries and 2 50s.
Yeah, man, I tell you, he's
quite commendable. Absolutely.
One of the stars.
Yes. And then his partnership stand with Daryl Mitchell. Mitchell also managed to post a considerable amount of runs that pushed the Kiwi target towards their target required.
Yeah, Isha, when you mentioned before about getting caught on the boundary, both of those boys, well, when you're chasing a big score, there is a duty to hit. Yeah. You know, it's okay to say why did he do that, but particularly Daryl Mitchell, who's already hit 2 boundaries in that over, but he got a little bit greedy. Maybe he could be, you know, a bit naughty on that one because he's already had, I think, 10 or 12 off the over. But when you're chasing a big score, you tend to go for it, and you know.
You have
Ravindra was a little tired as well, and they both perished on the boundary line. But that's the way it goes. That's the beauty of, you know, chasing a big score.
Who starts for you in the bowling department for Australia today?
Oh, I'll tell you who didn't. Stark, that's for sure.
Yes, for the first time he went wicketless in the World Cups.
Yeah, and his extras, he alone, I think, bowled an extra 9 balls, 8 or 9 balls.
Yeah.
Extra.
There you have
That's
it.
just him. In total, the Australian team bowled an extra 2 overs. 2 overs and 2 balls. 14, right?
Yeah.
Now, Australia scored 5 runs more than New Zealand, but New Zealand only gave up 8 extra balls. But 2 of those were no balls, very bad. But there's a difference, right? In close games, this makes a difference. You just never know what it'll mean until the end of the day. So you keep bowling no balls or wides, it's going to hurt. And the last one that Stark bowled went for 4. Yeah. Jeez, you know. And it was, as the commentator said, it was 5 runs for nothing. Anyway.
Quite a match. I have to tell you, our viewers, today was the first day that Dav got late by just a minute to come to the studios because he just couldn't leave his office until the last ball was bowled. Dav, I also want you to talk a little bit about how the New Zealand innings progressed. For the most part, one saw them maintain a standard run rate.
Yes.
A 7 odd, you know, is something between 7.3, 7.1, 7. There you have it. Yeah, around 7 is what they maintain. And then this is where they hit in the last 10 overs, and of course in the 31st to the 40th over as well. This was required for them to balance it out. Yeah,
they did keep in touch, and they weren't losing too many wickets either. So you know, full effort and full congratulations for that for the way they went about the chase. And when you're always in touching distance, it keeps you interested, keeps you in the game. Yeah. And what it does with the opposition, who are the bowling team, they also have a little bit of pressure, and pressure can do funny things to you, as we've seen today. So, you know, fantastic effort to chase a score of 388 and fall 5 short. So, big pat on the back to all these guys that did a good job for them. And I think they, you know, they can hold their heads up high today.
But do you not think that staying in touch with things was something that was inadvertent today? They would have hoped to, you know, chase that total even sooner. They did not manage to do that. It was rather inadvertent. They had to play the way they did. And was this in accordance with the way New Zealand played? Would you say, was this in accordance with what we anticipated of the pitch? Did they play the pitch well?
Yeah,
would you
I
say
think
that?
so. But also, a couple of things to say. First of all, if Australia had lost that game after that, you know, that wonderful opening stand of 170 in just under 20 overs, that would have been a real problem for them. But when you're chasing a big score, everything has to fall into place nearly all of the time. They got a little lucky with a drop catch, caught and bowl. Maxwell would have eaten that for breakfast most times. But it went straight through his hands. He was like surprised to see it come back at him. But everything needs to go, you know, in place. So, and risks have to be taken. But I'll tell you one thing: Australia helped them a lot, because the amount of times I saw, and I'm not having a go at them. I'm just telling you what I saw, because pressure's out there, and I understand the easiest. The easiest place to watch to play the game is sitting watching it from the boundary line, or when you're in the office or in the lounge room. But the amount of times the ball was driven over the fielder's head at mid-off or mid-on suggests that it was ill-directed. The simple thing is, if you've got fielders saving one in the ring, mid-off and mid-on, you cannot be driven back past.
I'm not really sure if we have the wagon wheel graphics for our batsmen ready, especially for Ravindra. Maybe we can pull that up once we have that up.
We can see where they got their runs, but the amount of times I was thinking, geez, that's a good shot. You're lucky to get a 6. Where's that fielder? Fielder's in the ring. And I thought, oh no, they must be tearing their hair out, because it has to be a disciplined effort. I know you want to bowl up, you want to get the wicket, but you know, you bowl to your field. If field is, you've got coverage on the square boundaries, you've got to bowl short. You can't be driven down the ground. So look, it's easier said than done. I know. It's a lot of pressure in the heat of the battle. These things will happen, but I'm just being observant and just reporting to you what I see.
Were New Zealand guilty of any follies in their in the first innings?
In their first innings?
In the first innings, the one where Australia batted, were New Zealand guilty?
They just came up against a whirlwind. Two players who absolutely set her on fire. When they won the toss and they bowled, thinking there'll be something in the pitch.
I think that was their only little misassessment of the situation.
And once again, Isha, you win the toss, lose the game. Okay, it was close. It's another statistic. It's amazing. And nearly all the time, it's win the toss and bowl first, lose the game. Anyway, no, I think the easiest part to bat when in the first innings was opening. When the ball was new and it was coming on nicely, the bounce was very trustworthy, and there was no swing, hardly any swing, and not much movement, you know, off the wicket, no seam. Whoa, you know, 2 men out of the circle, a new guy coming after an injury. It was just, I was in awe. You know, as was, I'm sure, a lot of people watching that game.
We were watching that innings together, and it was an absolute masterclass. It was shocking. Every ball was shocking.
Shocking for a Kiwi, but if you're an Aussie supporter, bloody hell, you know, that's amazing batting.
It was wonderfully surprising, even as viewers. Dav, that you mentioned that, you know, the early morning playing conditions, not the early morning, but the morning playing conditions. When you say that Australia helped New Zealand a lot, Australia also got that advantage of the first few overs in the morning.
Yes, they did, yeah.
And that's when they piled up all the runs.
Well, in a way, that's acceptable because you're only 2 out of the circle. You know, so you have an option to have the long single at third man fine leg, or you bring them up and you cover the square boundaries, which they did most of the time. So, but you only got 2 out, so you can understand, you know, balls being driven back over your head, or you know, maybe a top edge if there's no third man. You can understand that. But when you've got fielders spread out after the power play overs, that's when I was referring to that, not in the first 10 overs.
Yeah.
And they could.
No, I was talking about the overall advantage.
Yeah, well, the overall advantage was to bat first in that in the first innings, and boy, oh boy,
they took advantage of that.
Yeah, 818 in the first 10, and then you know at 20 over mark they were one for 170 whatever 75 70. Yeah, a lot of runs. 177.
So to summarize, the only thing that the Kiwis were guilty of was probably not choosing to bat first. After that, they did the job well.
Surely. At the halfway mark, Isha, I'm sure a lot of people watching that game would think, it's too far, it's just too much to get. And that would have been a record chase.
Yeah.
And I was one of those. I'm sure you would have been one of those. 389 to win. Just seems too much. Yeah. But they did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kept going, they kept going, they kept going. As I said, the extras didn't help. You know, getting hit to boundaries where it wasn't protected didn't help. But you know, it's a two-way street. You know, it's caused by some pressure created by some very good batting, particularly this young guy, you know, this 23-year-old.
Yeah, I'm going to come back to him in just a bit, but just to summarize Australia as well. So Australia, even if they were guilty of some fielding mishaps, they managed to win, so it doesn't matter.
They got 2 points, eh?
They missed out on the net run rate bid, though. After posting 388, they could have gone on to the 3rd spot, but because New Zealand inched in on that margin of win.
We got a table.
Yes, we have a table. Okay, so let's pull the table up.
After
posting 388, you would imagine Australia would now go to the 3rd spot. Sure, we suspected them to be level on points. Australia had the upper hand. Just basis what we know of their performance of late. Yeah.
So 0.970. Gee, I mean, after 388, you'd think they'd up the NRR, but it just didn't happen because New Zealand didn't allow that.
Yeah, it's a great effort by New Zealand there.
To get into the 4, I think, as I said earlier, you need to win. You know, net run rate is secondary. But if you're in a position to increase that net run rate, then great, you know, do it. Because it means if you're able to finish 3rd or even 2nd, then 1 plays 4 and 2 plays 3.
Yeah.
So it would appear that the team ending up on top would be the strongest team.
Yeah.
So you'd rather play the 2nd strongest, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah. But Dav, also, I think here the net run rate was important because, again, if New Zealand actually, we already considered the possibility of New Zealand losing today, as we saw was the result. New Zealand managed to maintain their spot on the 3rd position. And that means that they, if this was it, if this was the end of the league stage, they would have played India.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And Sri Lanka and all the other teams.
No, they would have played South Africa, and Australia would have played India. Yeah.
But right now, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, and Afghanistan would still fancy, you know, getting into that 4th spot because of net run rate being not as much. But Australia have to lose a couple, which we don't think will happen. They have to win all their games, which we don't think will happen. So what we're seeing now, I think, will be the 4 that will be playing in the semis.
If any team has a chance to come to displace Australia from here, which team, again, I'm going to keep asking this question, between Sri Lanka and Pakistan, or would you say Sri Lanka and Pakistan, or which team would it be, or would you also consider Afghanistan there?
No, I wouldn't consider Afghanistan, although there's nothing against them. I think that you know how I feel about them. They're going to be a very good team in the near future. I think between Pakistan and Sri Lanka could force the issue. But again, you know, that's a long shot because you know what I think. The teams in that yellow block will remain.
Yeah. Also, mathematically speaking, since Sri Lanka have played 5 and they do have a chance to win their remaining 4 fixtures, which brings up the tally of wins to 6, by virtue of which, just mathematically speaking, I think they can come into the top 4.
Yeah, so if they
win all their games.
If they win the next 4, right?
Yes.
So that's 4 by 2.
So that makes
8.
it 2, yeah.
Plus 4 is 12 points.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. Mathematically?
Mathematically, yes.
Correct.
I think mathematically, Pakistan have missed the bus because they have played 6 matches.
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
That's right.
If we can just go back to Rachin Ravindra, I want you to compare and contrast his century with that of Travis Head's.
Yeah.
Rachin Ravindra, 116 for 89. Travis Head, I think he made 109, if I'm not mistaken, of 67. If you look at the strike rates, of course, you know, Travis Head's strike rate is higher than that of Ravindra's. But the conditions under which Ravindra played, would you say tougher?
Well,
more pressure, tougher?
Well, yeah, a little bit more pressure, I guess. But I tell you, both were very, very good, high class.
Yeah.
For different reasons. Travis Head coming back from a long injury layoff.
Yeah. We have his wagon wheel there.
Yeah, well, he scored all over, mainly in front of the wicket, 26, 16, 14 and 21. So in front of the wicket was his favourite area, both onside and the offside.
Yeah.
But for different reasons, they were very, very high-class innings. And Ravindra innings today, as you said, had the added responsibility of chasing, the scoreboard pressure. And he actually, you know, remained. He had a few partners. He wasn't getting out. His partners were getting out. And every time you look up there, you think, gee, that's another wicket gone. But they kept up with the run rate, or close to the required run rate. So from that point of view, yes, it was a wonderful, wonderful effort. And at 23, he really belies his, you know, his age belies how good he is in terms of his experience. Not much, but he gives you the impression he's been around for a lot longer, you know, so really good effort. I think they've really unearthed a hidden gem there, and he's going to be, you know, that's going to be polished up over the ensuing years, and he'll be a wonderful player for his country.
Okay.
Travis Head, on the other hand, Heady, as I said, coming back from a long injury layoff, opening the batting, conditions were good, that's fine, but you still got to hit it. And, you know, he took up the responsibility and put pressure, along with Warner, right back on the Kiwis. And that hasn't been done to them for a long time, I don't think. 118 in the first 10. So, you know, and then he goes on, when it got a bit tougher, he goes on to get 100. I think, you know, both were worthy of, you know, high praise, absolutely.
You wouldn't pick one over the other?
They're both the same, both the same to me.
Okay. Is it fair to compare David Warner's to Daryl Mitchell?
Mitchell had a bit more pressure as well, I have to say. You know, he came in at number 4. Yeah. And, you know, there was pressure on him to continue with that run rate. And, you know, he likes that. He likes to play aggressively, and the situation suited him. But still in all, when he came in when the field was spread, and he did a wonderful job also, but as I said, when you're chasing a big score, you have to keep going. But as I also said, once you've got that, you know, 2 boundaries in the over, you got to make a decision. Now, do I go for a third? Am I being greedy? Yeah.
There was that 1-6 that Mitchell hit, which was 88 meters or something.
Pretty long, eh?
Yeah. That didn't seem risky, though.
Ball was going, it's like a pinball machine. It was going everywhere, you know, the whole game. Yeah. Wonderful spectacle, and a great game for the spectators.
Yeah. Okay, so Dav, before we move on to the comments that we have been getting, and I'm pretty sure there are quite a few. Who was the player of the match for you? I know we headed straight into the show right after the match got over. Not really sure who's been, but I know who the player of the match is, but for you, who was the player of the match?
It would probably be a batsman. It would either be, on the losing side, I wouldn't have any complaints if Ravindra was player of the match, no problem, but they don't tend to do that. Clearly, I remember one game where Buzz DeLeader batted and bowled and fielded brilliantly and didn't get man of the match because he wasn't on the winning team. That was very wrong.
So who was the man of the match for you?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I think either Ravindra or Head.
Yes, we know those are the options, Dav, but I want to put you on
Head.
Travis Head, okay.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be upset if the other boy got it.
Yeah, okay.
That's the point I'm trying to make. Travis Head would get it, but I think they should both go up there and share it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Travis Head was adjudged the man of the match today, the player of the match. I think it is time to take some comments now.
Okay.
Also, Dab, before I let you go, a word on Glenn Phillips.
Yeah, he's bowling.
Yeah.
He's bowling. Yeah, so many
That's
things.
it, he's bowling, taking wickets.
It's not. This is the most he's bowled in an ODI. And what a performance. 3 wickets.
Economy of 3.7.
Yeah.
He's been the most economical for the side.
Yeah, he actually came on at a time when the batsmen were going. They were absolutely, creaming it. And he put the brakes on. He put the brakes on. He found a nice speed in the air and he bowled straight.
Yeah.
And the batsmen weren't prepared to take a risk with the field spread. And he finished up bowling 10 in a row. Never done that before. And
took 3.
3 wickets, for 37 runs. But the batsmen were a little scared to
shaken
hit him.
up.
Yeah. So great effort, but he's there for his batting and fielding. Took a great catch in the end too. Dropped one, difficult one, but wonderful effort. Instrumental in pulling, reducing that run rate, and I suppose restricting to 388. Seems funny to say that.
Yeah, we were assuming a 600, 500 plus total when Travis Head and David Warner started. Okay, a few comments now. Let's go with Ansh first up, who says, one team wins the match, the other wins our hearts. What a magnificent game of cricket.
Yeah, well, New Zealand generally wins the hearts of everybody. They're the most favourites of all
the darlings
teams.
Of the World Cup. No, it's been Afghanistan this time around,
But one team wins the game, the other team wins the hearts, and I would agree with that for sure.
Okay. Das says, Indian fans and cricket lovers enjoying back-to-back close games on weekends be like. I'm assuming he really liked the close encounters, the cliffhangers that we saw within a span of 12 hours.
Yeah, 2 games in a row now.
Yeah.
And we don't know what's happening at Kolkata.
Yeah.
That could be a close one as well. Chasing 230.
Yeah.
Bangladesh. They need to win.
We agree with you, Das. It does. It's quite a lot of fun to watch that. Himanshu says, it's 2019. We are living once again. Multiple flashbacks of that match.
2019, the
New Zealand versus Australia.
It was a close one there too, wasn't it? So, it's a flashback. Boy, I mean, if you got a bit of a poor heart, it's not good for that.
Yeah. Amit, I'm not really sure if Dav agrees with you on this today, but Amit says, Mitchell Starc, the hero of Australia, he defended 19 runs against Neesham and won the match for Australia. Starc, one of the greatest ever.
Well, he is a wonderful player with a good record. But today wasn't his day. Everybody doesn't have a great day. But yes, he was given the job in the last over to bowl, and at the end of the day he did it.
Yeah.
It could have been a better job, but Australia still won. But
yeah,
giving
he managed
those
to force
5
that.
wides,
Yeah.
oh man, that was just, you know, if you're an Australian fan or an Australian supporter, oh, you'd be shouting at the television.
Okay, over to Prasad, who says, what an incredible game. New Zealand nearly pulled off a miraculous win, but I think at the end it was Australia's ground fielding in the last few overs that made the difference. World Cup is truly alive.
Yeah, look, any close game, you could think of a number of instances that would change the course of that result. A lot of things would change the course of that result, and that's one of them. And yes, absolutely agree that Marcus Labuschagne, he completely botched up that catch on the boundary, right? Stepped on the rope, not really unaware where it was. Difficult, I know. And then you get angry at him. Then he runs around and stops a certain 4, saves 2 runs, and that really was a difference also at the time. So, you know, lots of little things would change the result if it was done well or not done well.
Can you say for New Zealand that Kane Williamson is truly missed?
Oh, well, not on this performance. Look at this, you know, like he's not been
in the World Cup so far.
No, you can't say that because they've been beaten twice. Once against the top team,
India,
getting 270 something,
yeah.
and really they coming into the last 10 overs, they were only 4 wickets down.
Yeah.
Right, only 4 wickets down, and Bumrah and his mates pinned them down to just 54 runs or 50 something runs, right, and 6 wickets. So, you know, one area they could improve on is that last 10 overs where they could have made it harder for India. But despite only that and getting 270, India were doing really well. New Zealand brought them back. You know, that's the way. They know no other way. They just never give up. And it was a really close match in the end, if you remember, you know. So, you know, New Zealand, I would never, ever take
discount,
them lightly.
yeah.
They're a good team.
Yeah. Who is holding the fort for the Kiwis, in your opinion? Who's making us not miss Kane Williamson as much?
Well, some of these batters are Mitchell's stepping up. We know what Conway can do.
Yeah.
We have Ravindra, who's been an absolute find of this tournament, somebody so young. You have also a guy like Phillips, he didn't make runs today, but he really contributed with the ball.
Yeah.
Santner, who took another couple of wickets, was he? He's right up there as well now. 14 wickets for the tournament, leading the tournament. So, and you have the pace of those 3 bowlers also doing well. But today, all pacemen got hit. Everyone got hit today. So, you know, when Kane Williamson gets fit, surely he will walk straight back in. He's that good a player. But if he was that good in a team which is not that good, then he'll be missed. But he hasn't been missed as much as a lot of people think, simply because the other boys have stepped up.
I'm not really sure if people are thinking that he's being missed. I think people are pretty confident about this New Zealand side.
Well, he has been missed. I'm not going to say
he's not, but
of course,
look at the performance. He's been the captain, yes.
Yeah, you couldn't say, oh, if we had Kane Williamson, we'll win the game. They have been winning, except the last 2. And this one by 5 runs.
Yeah.
388 to chase.
Can I simply ask you one question, Dav? After this win, would you say that Australia is going to win the World Cup? You know, because we've been asking, are they going to be in the semi-finals? I think they've really upped the ante, and then strong contenders for the trophy.
4 in a row now.
Strong contenders for the trophy.
Yeah, anybody playing them would be, you know, pretty. Yep, be careful playing them. No, I still haven't changed my mind. I think India's the team to beat.
The strongest contenders
who
so far.
they play in the final, that may change. South Africa, New Zealand or Australia, not sure yet.
Okay, just to look at the road ahead for New Zealand and Australia after this, if you can just pull up their fixtures. New Zealand probably first. We have New Zealand plays South Africa in Pune on November 1st. It plays Pakistan in Bengaluru on November 4th, and it plays Sri Lanka in Bengaluru on November 9th. Those are the fixtures for New Zealand. It has South Africa, Pakistan and Sri Lanka.
The Bengaluru games.
These two are in Bengaluru.
The Bengaluru games could be a little worrisome because if they're really good batting wickets with short boundaries, if you haven't got enough runs on the board, both those sides could chase it, particularly Sri Lanka. They could chase it down. So you've got to be a little careful on that ground. Assuming the wickets are good, of course.
Yep.
All right. South Africa is going to be another mouth-watering fixture.
Encounter, yeah.
Yeah, just a few days away. That'll be that's at Pune, you said, right?
South Africa is in, I'll just tell you, I think South Africa is in Pune, yes.
Yeah, I think so. That'll be, again, a wicket that generally helps the fast bowlers. So South Africa would be looking forward to that. They have a good battery of them. And so is New Zealand.
Yeah,
so I think that could be a really good one to look forward to.
Going over to Australia now, if we can just pull up their fixtures as well. Australia next plays England in Ahmedabad on November 4th. Afghanistan on November 7th, and this is in Mumbai. And they finally play Bangladesh in the league stages on November 11th in Pune.
The party spoilers, all three of them, aren't they? You know, they could all just put a spanner in the works.
Yeah.
But
actually, all six of them.
But
you'd
have to agree, I think most people would agree, that on this current form, Australia, you see Australia winning them all, don't you? So, and I'd agree. So, but yeah, anything can happen on the day. That's a given. But looking at those fixtures, that's probably the easier of the two.
So the road ahead slightly more tricky for New Zealand, considering they do play South Africa.
Slightly. Yeah.
Slightly.
Yeah.
Okay, Dal, we just take a couple of more comments and then we will let you go. It's been a long day, and just a few more, and then we have to wrap up this edition of WION World of Cricket. This one comes in from Ashutosh, who says, what a match, what a game. Indian fans and cricket lovers enjoying back-to-back close games on weekends. Well played, Rachin Ravindra, Travis Head and Jimmy Neesham.
Yeah, absolutely. Jimmy Neesham was another one too we haven't mentioned. You know, he's...
we were a little wary of him at the start.
His performance right at the end, you know, again, he hasn't been playing. He played the very first game and then he's missed out. And he came in today because of a little niggle to Mark Chapman.
Yeah.
Yeah, and look at the, you know, he bowled these one over. The first over, he got a wicket and 5 runs.
Yeah.
Then the next one went for about 26. So that was a bit, you know, unfortunate. 2 drop catches too, I have to add.
Yeah.
In that, remember, at the end of the game, at the end of the innings. But look what he did with the bat. He nearly won it for them, you know. So his performance also is noteworthy.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark says, Jimmy Neesham almost made it. Labuschagne's fielding in last over saved the game for Australia. Great game.
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree. That saving the extra 2 runs made a big difference.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Shivani says, Maxwell saving 2 runs, Labuschagne saving 2 runs. 4 runs have made the match for Australia, and if those 4 runs, then it's a draw. Game changers. Fielding wins you matches.
It does. Catches win matches, as a very famous saying. And Labuschagne's effort around the boundary line might just give him another game, do you think? Stoinis could be available next game, you never know. And well, they've also got an option to bring Green back. Labuschagne, with that wonderful piece of fielding, you know, they might just remember that only in selection time.
Yeah.
And he might, you know, retain his place in the 11.
Okay, the only reason why I keep looking at my phone is because this is where I get your comments, just in case everyone is wondering. How could I be so remiss while I'm talking to our valued expert here and I keep looking at my phone? I'm actually trying to read out what you guys have been writing, and this is where I get it, which is why I keep looking at my phone. Okay, the last one I'm going to take from Dakshata, who says, and a comment comes to me on the phone, absolutely enjoyed Australia smashing everything in sight.
Yeah.
Okay, clearly an Australia supporter.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, to be honest with you, you have to take your hat off to that performance. Don't you? Whether you're an Australian supporter or not, you know, you just got to put your hands together and clap it. It was just awesome, awesome. You don't see that very often, you know.
Yeah.
Applaud it.
Yes. And before I let you go, Dav, what do you make of another team winning the toss and losing a game? Yeah, you know, I think I may have identified another trend wherein in between there usually are a couple of games that the teams winning the toss go ahead and win, and then again they start losing.
Well, yeah, it may you know, tilt the scales a little bit in favour of winning the toss and winning the game. But I tell you, it's very heavily weighted to. You just don't want to win a toss, do you? You know, instead of you decide what you're doing. I don't want to win it. Yeah.
Okay, it certainly turned out that way today. That's all we have for you in this edition of WION World of Cricket. Very exciting game lined up for tomorrow as well. Make sure you tune into that, and make sure you tune into us to keep getting all the analysis and all the updates. That's it from me, Isha, and Dav Whatmore with me in the studios. Bye-bye.